All right, and good morning, pro traders. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, depending on where you're joining us from in the world. This is, of course, your host, Christopher Guzman, joining you for another KickStart Pro live morning session. Today is Monday, the 9th of March, 2020. Before we get started, folks, you know the drill. Let's go ahead and do a quick audio and visual check. If you can hear my voice and see the screen without issue, please do let me know with a Y or a yes in your chat box. All right, perfect. Perfect. Thank you very much, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Hey, John. James, good morning. Good morning, Anthony. Maria, good morning, everybody. Good morning. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right in. There is some activity this morning. I'll jump straight to, first of all, what's happening on Pound Aussie. Okay, so with Pound Aussie, first of all, with the pounds across the board, we had a pretty good gap over the weekend, pretty good size gap and a spike to the upside. And it looks as though the market is attempting to, sort of retake some of that movement in early trading this morning. And so we're going to be taking a look at that. In the case of Pound Aussie, okay, we're operating off of an existing sell signal, but the risk here is too much for this strategy. Okay, so for those of you who have been through the UFTC, through the strategy section, you know that with strategy 7, I don't ever risk more than 60 pips using this strategy. And in this particular case, I would have a stop loss at 99.93 based on the signal, and an entry sell stop based on the signal at 99.21, which gives me 72 pips. So it's just too much risk. Okay, so even if this does continue to fall, I'm not interested in it because it's just too much risk. Okay, utilizing this strategy. Now you can see we've also got a new AB boundary here, right? Got a new AB boundary. We had a maximum 69.4% before, and as you can see, sure enough, we actually blew right past the 144 extension. Okay, and so this is my new AB boundary, and at the moment, I've got a maximum 50% retracement already. Okay, so taking a sell here would also mean going against the current fibs, which is not something I particularly want to do. Okay, now in the case of Pound CAD, okay, we also have a brand new AB boundary. As you can see here, we actually crowned. So what we were looking at before was a sub fib with the 2.618 round about the 1.8 mark. You can see we've blown right past that, but the reason my fibs look the way they do with the B high at 175.25 is because of the fact that actually we have now crowned. Okay, the previous A was 174.81, and so you can see we got our first official high here up above that at 175.25. Okay, so this is my new AB boundary. It means I have a maximum 23.6% at 174.28. It also means that I've got an unfulfilled 38.2% to the downside. So two things. Number one, with the gap here, plenty of opportunity to the downside. Also, with this unfulfilled 38.2, also plenty of room to the downside. Now, in terms of the actual signal itself, okay. Hey, Darren. Good morning, my friend. Good morning, Kevin. In terms of the actual signal itself, okay, we're looking at right in here. So first of all, the first signal occurred back here. You can see it there on the MACD. There it is out in the field. It's actually a beautiful little evening star that we saw here. Lovely little evening star that we saw. Market tested that though, blew right past it to give us a new higher high. But then with all of this price rejection here to the upside, okay, humongous price rejection, ultimately we ended up getting a couple of things. So first of all, you have a counter trend line break right there. And I've got a new signal here, a new secondary signal, both on the MACD and out in the field. Okay, and so on the MACD, signal was being called right around here, right around this shooting star. Okay, but then out in the field, we didn't actually get the signal until about this doji, thereabouts. So I'm going to go ahead and measure this out and just see, see if there's any opportunity here still to be had. You can see not long after that, okay, we had an engulfing bull, followed immediately by this decisive bearish candle, which actually ended up giving us a dark cloud cover here. Okay, and so I'm going to drop this 10 pips down to 78.16, and you can see we're well past the entry already. And then I'm going to raise this. So 78.79. I'm going to raise this 15 pips. So there's too much risk here as well. Okay, 63 pips in risk here as well. So this is not something I would have even taken, to begin with, just simply for the fact that there's too much risk. Okay, there's just too much risk, and this is what principled trading looks like. Okay, if if it doesn't meet your standards, right? If it doesn't match up with your preset parameters, then you need to have the discipline to pass on the trade, right? And so I wouldn't have taken this anyway, but there is plenty of downside opportunity. I'm interested to see, we're right at support right now. We're just taking out support, what I would consider to be S1, support 1. We've got S2 all the way down here. So there is plenty of opportunity. Again, like I say, plenty of opportunity to the downside there, but because of the excess risk, I'm not in and don't plan to be in on Pound Aussie or Pound CAD for that matter. Okay. On Pound Dollar, okay, have a look at Pound Dollar. So with Pound Dollar, okay, the sell signal occurred back here. Here it is on the MACD. Okay, but then out in the field, let me just see something here. So out in the field, okay, we didn't quite get the signal straight away. Signal happened a little bit after the MACD called it, and I would argue the signal out in the field is actually off of this bearish doji right here. We then had, again, similar situation where we had a bit of a spike, and then the market came back and gave me a secondary signal out in the field right here off of this candle. So this is actually the one I've used to showcase the anticipated move. Okay, so entry point at 13053, stop loss at 13100 even, and a take profit just above resistance. Check it out, just above past resistance of the channel at 129.82. Now, whether that's going to hit is another story. I'm not in this, okay? I'm not in this because by the time I sat down to look at this, it was already about 6 o'clock. And you can see this is the candle I was looking at 6 o'clock, where, the market had fallen, but it had fallen right down to support. Right down to support. And you know it's not a good sign? The fact that we're at support and getting all of this price rejection. That's not a good sign for this existing signal, okay? So I'm, again, like I say, I'm not in this. Not in this. And I'm actually anticipating a buy here. I'm actually looking for a buy rather than a sell. In other words, I'm more favorable toward a buy here than I am toward a sell, okay? We're right at support, and you can see now two instances of major price rejection. On the previous instance, we were left behind with a hammer. Okay, we were left behind with a hammer. Second instance is this very candle, came down, attempted to break, but you can see the bulls are pushing this right back up. And so, yeah, I'm going to wait for a buy signal here. I don't have one yet, but I'm, more interested in a buy here than I am in a sell. So we'll come back and check on this in about 2 minutes time. Okay. The next one is pound yen. And on pound yen, I am in this. The actual entry point, oops, let me go back. The actual entry point based on the signal should have been at 134.14. I missed it by about 6 pips. So my actual entry point on here is 134.20. Okay. And you can see I've got a stop loss placed at 133.68. Take profit placed at 134.83. So I had 46 pips in risk here, and I'm going after 69 pips in reward, minus the 6 pips, of course, because I missed the entry by 6 pips. And so I'm going after 63 pips here, technically, from 134.20 up to 134.83. Okay, so I am in this. This is the only one I'm actually live on this morning thus far. Okay, and right at support 1, by the way, folks, if you recall the lesson on support and resistance, right, where I talk about support and resistance essentially being like a game between the bulls and the bears, where, every time one party scores a goal, right, the market pulls back. Well, the bears have scored a goal by taking out S1, support 1 at 177.68, and now it's pulling back as anticipated. Okay, now we're kind of teeter-tottering, just to come back to pound CAD for a second here, because we're kind of teeter-tottering around the buy zone, sell zone line. And so, I am going to be monitoring this closely. Again, I'm more favorable because of the fact that, the risk was too much on the sell. Usually when the risk exceeds 60 pips, just so you understand the reason why I don't take trades using this strategy when there's more than 60 pips in risk. The reason is simple. Usually, okay, and this is just from experience, usually when there's more than 60 pips in risk, the market doesn't actually make its way toward the target, at least all the way to the target. And ultimately, I've seen it, time and time again, where, in fact, the market actually tends to go the other way before getting to that target. Okay. Now, on pound Swiss, all right, we've got a buy signal here, and you can see the bears attempted just now to try to drag this down. Ultimately, they were unsuccessful. Look at the price rejection right there. So we've now taken out this low, tested this low, and we've got huge price rejection, leaving this gigantic wick to the downside. The buy signal itself on the MACD, okay, MACD was calling this here at this engulfing bull. Out in the field, of course, because these are lagging indicators, out in the field, it was the signal occurred slightly after that. But I would be using this engulfing bull as my entry candle, as my measurement candle. Now, in terms of bigger picture here, we have a down capital AB boundary with an unfulfilled 38.2% all the way to the upside here. Plenty of room there to the upside. I can get rid of some of these additional lines. These are no longer needed. They're no longer valid and no longer needed. And so the buy signal here, the only concern for the buy signal is that we're making lower lows. If you look, we have this low here, and since this low was created, the bulls have been on a mission to try to push this up. Problem is they're not doing all that great with it, because we have a lower low here. And with this candle, if this ends up being another official low, then that's technically another lower low, right? We've also got, we had this high here, then we had a lower high. And it's true we have a higher high right here, but I mean, we're kind of in no man's land at the moment with this. The bulls and the bears are really kind of duking it out here. And so, yeah, I mean, the signal is a buy. So let me go ahead and measure that out and just see what it looks like. Okay, so again, I would be using this engulfing bullish candle right here. This engulfing bull. There's the high. There's the low. Whoops. There's the low. Okay, so 120.73. Stop. Potential stop, should I say? And then 10 pips above at 121.20. So 47 pips in risk. This means I should be going after 70 pips in reward. So 121.90 is where I would be looking to go with this, based on that buy signal. Round about there. Okay, so this is ultimately the setup right here. It does make sense in terms of, from a pure market mechanics perspective. Again, you've heard me say this many times now at this point, what goes up must come down, what goes down must come up. And we've been on quite an aggressive sell-off here. So a buy signal actually does make sense. Plus the humongous wick left behind to the downside. I mean, that's also a good indicator for a buy. There's one thing here, though, that just ever so slightly concerns me, and that is this spinning top. Okay, spinning tops are an indication of consolidation, of impending consolidation. Okay, and as you can see, there's the range, because there's the high of my spinning top, there's the low. The range here, take a look, right? I said spinning tops are a sign of consolidation, right? Consolidation to come, basically. And sure enough, okay, since the formation of this spinning top, what has the market done? Well, of course, it's consolidated. Okay? It's done nothing but consolidate since the formation of that spinning top. So, chances are we're going to kind of stick inside this range for a little while. There is a buy signal there. But again, the chances are pretty high that we're going to actually just kind of stay inside the range for a bit. So I'm not going to be able to do anything with this. I mean, I do have it measured out. I will come back and check on this in a few minutes' time, just to get an update and see if anything changes. I am leaning toward the buy, especially because that's the current signal. But again, that current signal doesn't really mean much to me with the presence of this spinning top right here, because that is a consolidation range that, we're going to have to break out of that consolidation range in order for me to gain some confidence in a buy here. Okay. So that's pound Swiss. And the last one to look at is going to be pound New Zealand in terms of the pounds. It's going to be pound New Zealand. On pound Swiss, okay, let me just go back to pound Swiss really quickly, because sure enough, take a look, okay, right at support, what did we get? A nice long wick to the downside, big time price rejection to the downside here, right at support, okay. And so, I don't have a signal yet on pound dollar, but I am anticipating that this will likely turn into a buy signal. So I'm going to be monitoring this closely, looking for a potential buy. Okay. Pound CAD, I don't have anything yet. Now, with pound New Zealand, I also don't have anything yet. What I do have is the need to update this, because we've got new AB boundaries here, right? And so let me show you what I mean. First of all, I'm going to just go ahead and clean some of this up. Some of this stuff is no longer necessary. So, and this chart is way too messy for my liking. You know what I'm like, folks. I don't like messy charts, and hang on. So this is a good time. So every so often, folks, this will happen with TradingView. I noticed this. Every so often, I mean, it's quite rare, but it does occur, as you can see. Every so often, your drawing tools will all change to this dashed pattern here. If that happens, don't despair, don't freak out. Just simply refresh the page. Usually that does the trick for me. So we'll see. But I mean, that does have, if you've ever seen that before, or if you ever do see that, don't freak out. It does happen. I've seen it a few times now. Okay, see, there we go. So back to normal. Okay, so here we are with the capital AB boundary, the previous capital AB boundary. These subs, obviously the subs also worked out, but they worked out in the course of the capital fibs working themselves out. So subs are subs, they're less important than capitals. So bye-bye subs, okay? Bye-bye subs, because the capital here went from a maximum 61.8% retracement, and there was our anticipated 1618 at 20818. And you can see we well exceeded that. Well exceeded that. There's a humongous spike to the upside there as a result. Okay, so I'm going to clean this up like I was doing before. So let me just go ahead and finish cleaning this up. And then I'm going to spread some new fibs because we need some new fibs here as we have a new AB boundary. Okay, by the way, you can see I was outlining this level as a level of support. You see the green line there? Look at that. If that's not support, right? I show you that just so you know you build your confidence in the analysis that you're doing every day. It's important to recognize things like that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and spread some new fibs here. I just first want to figure out which is definitely the lowest of the lows because we had quite a few at this level. And I do believe that line is correct at 199.96. So I'm going to start from there. Nope. Hold on. Let's come in a bit closer. Okay, and so I'm going to have to stretch this all the way to that spike because obviously that's where we got the official high. Okay, and so of course with the humongous spike and the almost instantaneous pullback, we pulled back to about a 50% retracement here already. Okay, hold on. Here we go. And some of these lines I can clean up as well. Don't need them anymore. Okay, so there we are. Yeah, and sure enough, maximum 50% retracement there. Okay. Now, we did have a sell signal on this, but I don't trust it at all. Okay, this again is another situation where the market's come right down to support, and at support, based on what I can see with price action here, right? Just you know, on approach, you can kind of see where we're coming up to this previous price rejection and getting price rejection again, and the last price rejection resulted in a hammer. Okay, that's a hammer right there. So with the presence of that hammer, I'm anticipating a buy signal, and you can see the very next candle is already giving off an engulfing bull. The problem is I don't have a signal. Okay, I don't have a signal. I do have a flagpole pennant. Hold on, turn that magnet off. I do have a flagpole pennant. Right, there's my flagpole right there. But I don't have a signal. So there's nothing I can do. I need to wait. Okay. So with pound Swiss, I am going to go ahead and set that up on pound Swiss. We've got about a minute or so to go before the close of the current candle. And like I said, you know, the one concern there was the spinning top boundary. Okay. But, you know, the entry, the good thing about the entry is that it requires a break of that spinning top boundary anyway. Okay, I am in. That was pretty quick. I placed the order. I'm already in at 121.20 exactly. Okay. Give me a second, folks. Okay, so 121.21 was my actual entry point there. All right, we have the close of the candle now. Let's take a look. On pound dollar, I do now have a buy signal down on the MACD and out in the field. So I'm going to go ahead and look to set that one up now as well. Now, obviously, my signal candle is going to be this bullish engulfing. So I need to go ahead and mark this off. There's my high. I'll just repurpose these lines here. There's my low. 10 pips below for a stop, so 130.56. 10 pips above for my entry point, so 131.08. $52 pips in risk. Okay, which means I should be going after 78 in reward, which means 131.86. And this is a pound dollar. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set this up. I have a potential stop at 130.56, potential take profit at 131.86, and I'm placing an entry buy stop at 131.08. And nope, forget that. That's going to have to be a market order because it's already past it. So 131.12 was my actual entry point. I missed it by 2. 131. No, sorry, missed it by 4, not by 2, by 4. 131.12. Okay, so I'm now in on pound yen, pound Swiss, and pound dollar here. Okay, pound yen, pound Swiss, and pound dollar. Now, I do anticipate that the rest of the pounds are going to give buy signals. I do anticipate that. But I don't have a signal yet. And Darren says, I got in that trade since the counter trend line broke. Is that the pound dollar you're talking about, Darren? You really like that counter trend line strategy, huh? It's a good one. It is a good one. Yeah, see, you got a really nice entry point then. You got a really nice entry point there. Okay, so like I said, I am anticipating the rest of the pounds to give signals, buy signals, that is. I need to wait. I don't have signals yet. Okay, so while I do wait, I'm going to move over to the euros and take a look at what the euros are up to. And so the first thing I'm doing is just kind of scanning around. And we see a very similar situation with the euros where we had this big spike. By the way, folks, just from a fundamental perspective, I mean, I am and we are, mainly technical traders, but obviously we do have an appreciation for the fundamentals. And in the Ultimate Forex Trading course, I teach you to have a good understanding and good appreciation for the fundamentals. And ultimately it just means we are, I am a hybrid trader, and we at KickStart are hybrid traders, right? Meaning that we're, predominantly favor the technicals, but we incorporate the technicals with the fundamentals. And I think it's important for you to understand, with everything that's going on with this coronavirus business, right? All this coronavirus stuff going on. What happens is, as other markets tank and as other markets fall, what you have to realize is that investors don't just take the money out and sit on it, right? Investors use the money to invest. That's just the name of the game, right? You never really, if you're a full-time investor, you're never really sitting on the sidelines. You're putting the money somewhere to make it grow somewhere, right? And so when we see other markets falling, okay, currencies, the Forex is considered to be a safe haven. Now, why is the Forex considered to be a safe haven? Well, because it's money, right? And with money, you don't run into issues like supply chain troubles, right? Production troubles, which is the big concern really with this coronavirus stuff, right? The biggest concern obviously not from a humanitarian perspective, it's a totally different conversation, right? But from a markets perspective, right? The big concern is, of course, the disruption in global supply chains, global production. All right. And so as other markets fall, investors tend to dump their money into Forex because it's considered to be a safe haven, right? I've said this, for a long time. You always have buyers, you always have sellers. You never have a liquidity issue when it comes to Forex because it's money and everybody needs money, right? And so what you're seeing here, right, because you might be wondering, well, how is it that, elsewhere in the world or, in other markets, things are tanking and yet these currencies are spiking? Well, again, that just shows you the inverse relationship. And it's an inverse relationship because as one does poorly, the other tends to benefit. Okay, does that make sense, everybody? Does that make sense? So with this coronavirus stuff, it's very serious business. I mean, it's not good what's going on. It's really not good. So just on a side note, you know, do take care, everybody. Make sure you're washing your hands and, you know, don't touch your face, right? Wash your hands. Sing 2 renditions of Happy Birthday in your head. Don't sing it out loud. You know, people might look at you funny. But in your head, sing 2 renditions of Happy Birthday when you're washing your hands. Okay, very important. But yeah, from a market's perspective, it just means the currency markets will just have that extra volatility, which is good. We take advantage of that stuff, right? Okay, on Euro JPY, we have an existing buy signal here. And that makes sense because we also have a new AB boundary, right? Market came all the way back to this 86% pullback. It was quite a deep one. It wasn't enough, though, to take out that A at 121.04. Just was not enough. And you can see right at the backside of that broken trend line, too, resistance really did hold and push the market right back down again. Okay, see that? And so we now have a new AB boundary because I'm looking for fulfillment at this 118. I don't think I got it with this candle. What's the price point? 117.90. 117.90. And what's this one? 117.93. No, so it's going to be this low right here. Right, which means I'm right at a new below, okay, which of course spells buy, buy, buy. Right? Because if I'm at a new below, right, then it means that the market is going to start to be in search of a new C pullback, right? So it's actually this one here, this low, right here. So, I mean, realistically, I've got opportunity here to 118.12. And actually, take a look at this. So these are subs, right? These are subs. The capital AB boundary is also down. It's got a 61.8% retracement. So actually, take a look. We came pretty close to the target here. Pretty close to the target. We were looking at 116.06 as a target. We came down to 116.38. Not bad. Not bad. We came pretty close. But the reason I'm saying that is because this actually may try to go for that target instead. So we do have a buy signal here. Okay, we do have a buy signal currently. But out in the field, that looks to be changing a bit. Out in the field, that looks to be changing. So there's my trend line right there. Yep, there's my trend line. So you can see it's a broken trend line, but it's really kind of teetering along the trend line. This may very well turn into a sell signal. This may very well turn into a sell signal. So yeah, I need to wait and see. But as far as the buy signal is concerned, the existing buy signal, here it is down on the MACD. Okay, right here on the MACD, and then out in the field. So realistically, it's this candle right here that I'd be looking at. Throw the magnet tool on again. So there's my high. There's my low. Drop this 10 pips down to 76, 116.76. Raise this 10 pips up to 25, 117.25. So 49 pips in risk, which means I should be targeting 73 in reward. So 117.98. Where does that place me? That puts me right in front of that 38.2%. It's not a bad signal, actually. It's not a bad looking signal. 117.98. Really not a bad looking signal. What I mean by that is it's in line with the natural wave of the market, right? We know that the market likes to come back for that 38.2. The capital D extension target, let me mark that off. 116.06. Let me go ahead and put a line in here, 116.06, so I can see this. Yeah, the trouble is we're so close to that D extension. So close to that D extension. Yeah, I mean, I like the signal in terms of where it puts us with these fibs, but remember, these are sub-fibs. The capitals take precedence. And considering the fact that we've broken this trend line, it looks as though, at least for now, we're coming up on the close of the candle here. At least for now, it looks like resistance at the backside of this broken counter trend line is holding, which is not a good sign for a buy. It's not what I want to see for a buy signal. Yeah, and there's the close, and sure enough, we've held below. Now, the one good thing here, the only thing that kind of, the reason I'm still looking at this and I haven't just moved on, is because if you look, what are we doing? We're making higher lows, right? Here's a higher low. This low is higher than this low, and this most recent low is higher than this low. Assuming this stays a low. I mean, the fractal is calling it already based on current market, but if this thing falls, obviously that's no longer a low. What I like about the signal is that the stop is behind the low. So if it doesn't work out, if this did take out the low, then it invalidates the signal anyway. Okay, I'll tell you what. I am going to place this. For the buy. But I'm going to keep an eye on this. If this changes over to a sell signal, before I'm taking in, then of course I'll take action. So 49 in risk, and this is a Euro JPY. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and set this up. So bear with me one second while I do. Euro JPY. With a potential stop at 116.76, potential take profit at 117.98, and an entry by stop at 117.25. Now, the reason I'm doing this, okay, reason I'm doing this is because if the market takes me in, it's because, you know, it's because the bulls have come back in here and pushed this back above resistance, then, of course, turning this into support. Reason I'm doing it is because of the unfulfilled 38.2. We do have that anticipated capital 1.618D extension down at 116.06, but you know, again, the market moves in waves, and because of the fact that we've been on this huge sell-off for a while now, also because of the fact that we had a gap over here, okay, we had a pretty good gap over the weekend. You know, there is some room to the upside there. So, you know, in order for this to take me in, again, in order for this to take me in, it would have to break back above the counter trend line, turning what is currently resistance back into support. Okay, so yeah, I've placed it. I'm just going to monitor as we go. Okay, pound yen is pretty close to hitting my target already. Let's just go back and take a look. There you go. So pound yen's pretty close to hitting the target. Pound dollar is not far behind it. Pound Swiss doing all right as well. Not too bad. Okay, pound CAD has given the buy signal exactly as anticipated. So has pound Kiwi, so has pound Aussie, though pound Aussie is still a bit premature. So pound CAD, let me go ahead and take a look. Okay, and so with pound CAD, the signals actually occurred off of this engulfing bull. It might be too big. Let me see. It might be too big of a gap here, but I don't know yet. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah. 70 and 31. Yeah, I thought so. 89 pips before I've even did, you know, plus 10 on, to both sides there. So, yeah, way too much risk. Not taking pound CAD. Pound New Zealand, let's see if there's something to be had on pound New Zealand. And so there's the signal on the MACD. There it is out in the field. So I would use this previous engulfing bull as my signal candle. So there's the high, there's the low. Going to drop this 10 pips, of course, down to 208.75 and raise this up to 209.54. And yeah, too much risk there too. 79 pips in risk. So unfortunately, yeah, too much risk. Unfortunately, I'm not going to do anything there with pound New Zealand. Let's take a look at pound Aussie and see if that maybe has anything for me. I mean, there's strong buy signals, don't get me wrong. There's strong buy signals here. And it is even now, even, you know, with my years and years of experience doing this, if you think for 1 second that I don't still get tempted, then you're crazy, right? I do still get tempted from time to time, but do you know what? That's the difference between, you know, that's the difference experience makes. I've been burned that many times that I know better, right? I know not to touch the hot stove. And there you go. Pound dollars just hit my target. That was very quick. Look at that. Within 30 minutes of taking that trade, boom, straight to the target. Very nice indeed. Okay, pound Aussie. Let me take a look. So I do now have a buy signal here. The current signal, though, is going, I mean, the MACD, rather, is actually hasn't called it yet. It's starting to call it with this current candle, but it hasn't called it just yet. if I were to use this candle, then I'm looking at 1.2 even for a stop, potential stop. Well, that was clever. Hang on. I think this should be 20017. Oh, what am I doing? Hang on. Off again. There we are. 20087. There we go. Okay, so here again, too much risk. 87 pips. 87 pips there, too much risk. So, no can do. Right? No can do. Unfortunately. I'd like to. I think it's a good, strong signal, but no can do. All right. Okay, so Eurodollar also on the rise. Let me go ahead and take a look. Thing is, it's likely to be a similar situation. I mean, I don't know for sure yet, right? Because I haven't seen this yet, but it's likely to be a similar situation. Actually, before I look at I will look at Eurodollar first, just because. Let me just have a look. So there's my signal candle, obviously, engulfing bull. This might be too much risk. Here again, I'm anticipating that it probably will be. Yep, 70 pips. I thought so. Okay, so forget about Eurodollar. I'm not going to take it. Euro JPY. Okay. So what's happening here, right, is resistance is in fact holding. So I don't think this is actually going to turn into the buy. It's also taken out the low right here. So I'm actually going to get rid of that entry buy stop I placed before. So that's gone. And instead, I'm going to look for the sell. Now, obviously, I've only got to 116.06 before I'm at that anticipated capital 1.618. So, just about 70 some odd pips there. Excuse me, to hit that target. As it stands, with this current candle, there's 55 pips between the high and the low, which means there would be too much risk there anyway. So realistically, what I'm going to do, the game plan for me for Euro JPY, okay, I think this is going to fall. I think it's going to try to come down and hit that target at 116.06, and then I think it's going to give a buy signal. Again, a new buy signal. Okay, but as of right now, I do think that's going to fall. If the market closes looking the way it does currently, where resistance is still holding, then I do think that it's likely to fall. Okay, so that's where I'm at with Euro JPY. Let's take a look at the Aussies quickly in the last few minutes we have here, just see what's going on there. Okay, so we have also got, we had a reversal here on Aussie Cad. Take a look at that. Previous A at 0.8995, and you can see where that's been taken out. I can clean some of this up. Spread my new fibs here. Hey, Oliver, good morning. Thank you very much. It was lovely, wasn't it? Oliver says, beautiful trade on cable. Darren says, I hit my target on pound dollar. Well done, Darren. Well done. That's excellent. Okay, so yeah, 19001 would be that B high. We've got a 786 pullback. Oh, there's opportunity, baby. There's opportunity up to that 127 right there at 9100 even. Bang on 9100 even. So what is that? About, without making a fool of myself, 44 pips from current market. Just do a little quick math, no big deal. Okay, so the actual buy signal out in the field was called a bit early, and it was called on all these bearish candles here. We then got an engulfing bull, which is a good sign, and since then the low has not been taken out, which is also a good sign. And so realistically, I need to find where the signal occurred on the MACD, and that's going to be on this bullish doji right here. So there's my high, there's my low. Going to drop it 10 pips down to 88.98. Going to raise this 10 pips up to 52, 89.52, 52. So 54 pips in risk. Means I should be going after 81 in reward. Which means I should be going after 90.33, 90.33. Where is that? 127? Right at 191. Excuse me, 9100 even. So I do like this setup too. 90.33, 90.33, right about there. So I do like this setup too. I am 1 pip off of my ideal entry there. At the close of the candle, I'm going to go ahead and jump in at market. So 54 in risk again. This is an Aussie Cad. Okay, so stop loss at 0.8898. Take profit at 0.9033. And I wanted to get in at 52, 56 at the moment, so 4 pips off of my ideal entry point, but I've gone ahead and taken it anyway. 89.50, 56. 562 exactly was my entry. Okay, there we have it. Right, so just a quick recap, and then we're going to wrap up for the morning. Pound dollar in one of the quickest trades in KickStart Pro history. Right, within half an hour, boom, right to the target. The market doesn't move in straight lines unless it's Monday, the 9th of March, and specifically on pound dollar, specifically on that one trade. Other than that, though, the market does not move in straight lines, okay? I'm in on pound Swiss. Coming, it came right up to my automated trend line breaking the market into a buy zone, sell zone. So seeing the bulls struggle just a little bit to break this above into the buy zone. So I'm going to watch this closely as we progress this morning. Pound yen, I'm also in. I nearly made it to the target there. The high here is 134.77. My target is at 134.83. So the market came within 6 pips of my target, and has just gone a little bit sideways ever since. The one thing that concerns me about my pound yen position is the fact that what we've been left behind with now is, as a result of this previous candle, is a spinning top. Okay, and so with a spinning top, again, it just spells consolidation, potential consolidation. Not a big deal, really not a big deal, because of the fact that we're so close to the target, but it is enough for me to just highlight it and, highlight it as a potential concern that I'm going to get just kind of caught in this for a little while. But I do still think there's room there for this to head to the target. I am still anticipating for it to move to the target, so I'm not going to do anything with the trade. Okay, so but I am in on pound yen, pound Swiss, pound dollar hit the target very quickly. I had a pending buy on Euro JPY. I since have gotten rid of that because of the fact that we broke in a counter trend line here, and resistance has, at least until now, has held. Okay, so I got rid of that. Elsewhere, the risk was just too great on the individual positions. And then the last one here is that I am in on a buy on Aussie Cad going up to 9033. Okay, with that, everybody, that about does it for us this morning. I want to thank you all for joining me. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Let's make it a great week, folks. I will see you all again on Wednesday, same place, same time. Until then, you know the drill, folks. To your health, wealth, and happiness always. This is Christopher Guzman signing out, saying good day and take care. Thank you very much, my friends. Bye-bye.